Hey everybody, it's Monday. It's that time again. It's Always Bookin Comedy. I'm Mark Masters, and we got Brad Pierce all the way across the country in Rhode Island joining us today. Looks like he's a Pats fan.
Yeah, and yeah, I just kind of started watching the beginning of this very annoying matchup between two teams I hate. But I hate the Chiefs a little bit more than the Eagles. I'm trying to set
Nice.
up a light so
Yeah,
it looks
he's
nice.
working on a light. We're working on
I'm
comedy.
like trying to be
Brad's got this
professional.
like crazy bus thing we'll get into in a little bit. It's really a genius idea. When I first heard about it, I was like, "How is?" I'm shocked this doesn't exist in any of the markets I've been to. It's such a good idea.
Well,
Let's
apparently they're
begin.
already stealing the idea in Boston, so I'm sure other
Oh,
people will
okay.
do it.
I'm not shocked. I mean, the first, I mean, honestly, that was the first thing I thought. The second thing I thought was, how do I steal this for Denver?
Yeah, there you go. Everybody will steal it soon. We'll be like McDonald's. I recently watched that movie. What's it called? Michael Keaton,
Yo,
the
it was so
founder.
good on
It
Netflix.
was a good movie, but like irritating. Like I was so mad at the guy. He was so
Yeah,
hateable in that movie.
yeah. Ray Kroc,
He's much better
everybody.
as Batman, I think.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Brad. How did you're a comedian too, right? Not just a showrunner.
Yes, yeah. I don't do every show on the bus, but I do a lot of them, and I perform stand up all over the place. Yeah.
Nice. When did you get started, and how did you get started?
So about 10 years ago, um, it's a long story, so I'm gonna try to fire through it because I don't want it to drag.
Okay.
Basically, after high school, like always did bad in school, unlike my older brothers. Always didn't have a lot of like didn't know what I wanted to do, kind of thing. I have two older brothers. I'm like the black sheep of the family. Um, After high school, I just hung out with a couple of my other friends. Like some of them were getting to college, but none of us really knew. There was a couple of my friends that went right to the military. They knew like this is what I'm doing. But the rest of us were kind of like, it was like we're 90s kids, like that was like we're known for, like that's the screw up generation, the slackers, the Beavis and Butthead, the Nirvana, the like Wayne's World. I love Wayne's World, and this is why Wayne's World's so meaningful to me. So after high school, I started a public access show. Um, I had
Where in like Providence or
Yeah, throughout this, it played all over Rhode Island.
okay.
Um, Called the Golden Mike, which actually I just happen to have this. This is the name of the show is based on this thing right here. I just happen to have nearby. Um, I had my friends were kind of nuts, and one of my friends, Steve, was like good at voices and stuff. And at the time, nobody really had video cameras. You definitely didn't have it on your phone. But a friend of mine, Jeremy, had a video camera, and we started just kind of making some sketches and stuff. And they were over it within like 2 seconds. And I was like, no, I want to keep doing this. So I asked my friend Steve, hey, what about doing a public access show? I'm like, those shows on there, I know those shows are horrible. It's like backyard wrestling and just like real weird crap. But I was like, I bet we could make like a good one. So at the time, like Tom Green was really blowing up. So I was like, oh, I'd like to do some like man on the street interviews like that. But I wanted to do like sketches like SNL or whatever. So it's kind of a variety of different things. But so my friend had this mic in his basement, and I had bought a collar mic at a Radio Shack, and we hollowed this thing out, put the collar mic in through the body here, and boom, I had look, it's falling apart. Boom, I had a street interview mic, and that's where it began with this, and then we did sketches and different things. Um, and pretty much early on, I knew I wanted to be a stand-up, but I was definitely like I was scared of it. And
Sure. It's
took a
terrifying.
long time to just deal with the reality of that. I had a college professor named Ron Tip, and I went to college later because I blew years of my life just doing nothing and making public access shows and not having any direction, working in restaurants and hotels. Well, when I went to school, which my wife talked me into going back to school, I had a script writing class. Professor Ron Tips was like, "Why aren't you doing stand up?" And I gave him like a list of excuses, and he's like, "Nah, that's all crap. You're just scared. Yeah, you're just scared. That's what it really is." And I was like, oh man, that was a long drive home that day because I'm like, that guy's right, you know. Sadly, shortly after I started stand up, I tried to reach out to him. I looked him up, and he had passed away, which
Oh,
was wicked bum up. But anyways, on a brighter note, my friend Ed started doing stand up down in Georgia. His name's Ed Wiley. He's a comedian down there, and he was like, "You got to do stand up. You got to do stand up. This is for you." Blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? It was like, you ever see 8 Mile? I was like, like, so he called up a local club and signed me up for like a Sunday open mic showcase kind of thing. And he called me up and he's like, hey, you're booked for whatever. It was like a month away. So I was like, I guess I have to now. So that was about 10 years ago or so. And now I thank him all the time. And
is he still doing it?
I text him, huh?
Is he still doing comedy?
Oh yeah, yeah. But our paths are so different. Oh man, so different. He is like a clean comic in the Christian comedy scene. I am not a clean comic. I mean, I'm, whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
Jesselnick, but
Is
I'm not a clean comic. But we still talk all the time. I text him almost from every show, because I love comedy so much, and I couldn't be more thankful that I'm doing it, and for the opportunities I've gotten, and for him pushing me, which I needed.
that's
So that's kind of like, it all goes back. I even have this like laughing golden mic tattoo
nice.
that was just to as like kind of like a tribute of where it all began. And I met my wife shooting my public access show, which is always a fun story to tell people. Is like I was doing some street interview type stuff at the University of Rhode Island, where she was a student at the time. So when we met on tape, and I was wearing a I was wearing a Harvard shirt, and I was asking her some stupid questions, and she's like, "Oh, you go to Harvard?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she got screwed on that deal. But
Ah,
anyways, that's a true story. So I tried to like tell a very very long story as quickly as I could.
nice. Is the comedy club still around where you did your first?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I've just been kind of working a lot of different spots, and primarily the most stage time I've gotten in the beginning, I'd say the first 8 or 9 years. I work for a company called Funny for Funds.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I did a show
yeah,
with what's that guy's name? He's great.
Bill Simas.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yes, he's one of my good friends. He's one of the first guys that give me an opportunity. I met him early on. He had a contest for new comedians.
okay.
I did his contest, and we became friends, and I've been working for him ever since. So
That's a great
Funny for
organization.
Funds has been such a huge part of my life. It still is. And it really gave me so much stage time and opportunities. And then I do all sorts of stuff, private gigs, birthday parties. I'll travel once in a while. I don't travel a ton, but I did go to Vegas 2 weeks ago. I did some shows there, which was really cool.
Nice.
Um, and the comedy bus is kind of like my new big thing.
Yeah,
Which
let's
that
get
started.
okay. Before we get into the comedy bus, we will definitely get there. Tell me about like you start comedy, right? You do this like probably like an open mic at this club, and what was one of your first booking wins? Was it Bill who gave you an opportunity where you were like, "Oh, I'm making it. I'm excited." Do you remember it?
It's so funny because that term, you were excited. I'm trying to think if I've ever been excited for a show. Um, I'm excited if I'm on stage and the set's going well. I'm excited. If I get off stage and the set went well, I'm excited. I don't know if I've ever been like, "Oh, I got this show on Saturday. I'm excited."
Huh.
That's not. That's
Well,
not
like let's say you got to open for Tom Green, for example. Would you be excited?
now.
Yeah, today. No? Is there
No.
something that would excite you? What's excite like
Yeah, yeah,
who's your
yeah.
I don't know,
No,
Bill
no.
Burr or what
It's I don't think I'm communicating my point clear enough, and it's tough because we obviously don't know each other.
Sure.
If we hung out and just like had a couple cups of
No,
coffee, you would.
I think I understand what you're saying. I'm going to the next step, which is, oh, you don't get excited by like everyday shows. What show would excite you?
No, that's not what I mean.
Okay. All right.
No, what I mean is, I don't.
Is it an anxiety thing? Like you're more
I
anxious than you are excited?
I'm neurotic, so like obviously if you're like, hey man, we get this big show. Like this just happened to me 2 weeks ago. Vegas, perfect example. I'm out there, I've connected with this dude who's way further along in his career than I am. His name is Brett Ernst, big name in comedy, great guy, ba ba ba. That's a whole nother story. I'm out there. He puts me on a show. He's like, yeah, come do a spot, blah, blah, blah. I meet another friend. That guy, wicked cool guy, musician out there, accomplished musician. He's like, hey, come be in my podcast. Great. We had a great time. Everything's great. He calls me the next day. Where are you playing tonight? Me and my girlfriend want to come see you. I said, oh, I wasn't able to book anything out here tonight. Tried, didn't get anything. He goes, I'll call you in 5 minutes. Calls me 5 minutes. Hey, I just got you in one of the biggest shows in town. It's called the Dirty at 12. Dirty at 12:30.
Heard of it.
Big show.
Downtown Vegas. Yeah.
I hang up the phone. Am I excited? No, no. I'm like swearing in my hotel room with my buddy Nick. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, I don't know what your language
That's okay.
was.
It doesn't matter.
I was like, dude, I don't get. I was like, he's like, obviously, I want to do the show. Obviously, I'm thankful that dude stuck his neck out and vouched for me. Obviously, that's why I'm here. But I'm like, today I did a couple shows last couple days. I was kind of like, all the pressure's off. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
chill.
I hear that.
Now,
I know what you're saying.
but now I'm like, these people don't know me. I know it's a hard show to get on. So maybe I have, if we work together, maybe I have 9 good sets, but I have one bad set, right?
Yeah.
They don't know me. They're only seeing me for this one set.
Yeah.
In this packed room. They don't know who the hell I am.
Yeah.
They've never seen me. They don't know me from Adam.
There's pressure.
Now, was I excited once I got on stage and started having fun? Yup. When I was really excited when I got off stage? Yup. Was it the highlight of the trip? Yes, it was.
Awesome.
But in advance, am I ever excited? I don't know. No, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, you guess. So my follow-up question is, what's a surefire you'd be excited? Or you'd be yeah, I kind of hear what you're saying. Maybe you would never be excited. Like if you got to perform with
Not my
a
process.
legend. What's that?
It's not my process to get
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
I have to
I get
kind
you.
of mad.
I get you.
I have to get aggravated.
Let me ask you this. Who would be a guest on the comedy bus that you'd be excited to hear about? I'm sure you get famous people that come through every once in a while.
Brady.
Okay, all right.
I hate this lighting so much. This lighting's driving me crazy. I told you I'm neurotic. It's driving me crazy. I look like a vampire in a den right now.
Let me tell you, you're average in quality of camera right here.
So I just dropped that light on. So all right. So obviously huge Pats fan.
Did you hear that rumor that Tom Brady was going to start stand-up comedy about 6 months ago?
Yeah, it was a fake rumor, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it might have been real, but it got so much negative attention that he might have just been like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah, no, it's a really bad idea. But I did hear it. But so if you were like, hey man, this weekend you're doing the bus at 4:30 on Saturday or whatever, and just so you know, Tom's going to be on that bus. Would I be excited? Hell no, I'd be excited, dude.
You'd be scared.
I'd be stressed out of my freaking mind.
Okay.
I'd be like, you got to be shitting me. Now, after it happened, if it went well, what a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the craziest experiences I ever had is that I had to go on stage after Jim Gaffigan and Jerry Seinfeld. Looking
New York
back
City at Gotham.
Gotham.
Yeah.
Looking back, it went great. funny story. It's a great video, and to show my friends and to look at how crazy this was. In the moment, was it exciting? No. I was like, what the hell? I was pissed, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of how I'm wired where I don't know. I feel like it would be bad if I was excited. I don't think that would be good.
Yeah, I
I don't
hear
know. It's
you.
never happened, so I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's get into the comedy bus. So what's your role in the comedy bus? Did you start it? Are you the
No, I'm not the owner.
Okay.
Um, a guy, Mike, and his wife Jenna. He got my name from a guy at a comedy club. Reached out to me and was like, "Hey, someone told me you're the guy to talk to. I have this idea: comedy on a bus, driving around Providence." And I was like, "What?" So we met probably 5 or 6 times, and I was like, "Well, I've done a lot of weird gigs, and I do think I do well in chaos. So I think I could do it." But I said, "You realize like this is not ideal for comedy. Like this is the opposite of what you want for
Yeah.
comedy. You want a dark room where everyone's tight together and facing. Well, it's got the tight together. That's literally the only thing it's got. Everyone's facing you, and there's no distractions and no noise. It's just you, spotlight, low ceiling. We're just everyone's in." I said, "We're driving around with open windows. There's literally nothing but distractions. It's during the day, daylight most of the time, which is not ideal. It's literally like if there's a checklist of what's the ideal setup for a successful show, it's the opposite of that."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Just so you know, this could be bad, but it's been awesome." And yeah, do we deal with chaos or drunk people sometimes? Sure. But it's been awesome. It's a huge hit. Way more like it's way busier than I expected, way more demand for it than I expected. Um and so oh, you asked me my role. Sorry, I
That's
blab.
okay.
My role is I book all the comics and I perform on it myself a ton. I am just grabbing this thing I dropped. I'm
Okay.
still here.
No
I'm
problem. So comedy on a bus. There's a
right.
comedian. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of people on it. They drive around. Like, give me some of the breakdown. Like, how long are the people on the bus?
Got
How
you.
many comics? How
So
long? How long of the ride is comedy?
a standard show is 90 minutes, and it's a half hour with one comic performing, and you drive through. So we all meet in one spot. There's a bar we meet at with a big parking lot in the back, which is good because in the city in Providence, there's not a lot of places with parking lots. This place has a parking lot. You meet there. They're welcome to get there early, get drinks, bring the drinks from the bar in the thing. You can bring a cooler. Um, so you take one route through Providence with one comic performs for about 30, 35 minutes. You stop either at a brewery or a bar. You're there for about 30 minutes, and then you take a different route back with a different comic back. So it's 90 minutes, two comics, um, and that's the standard ride. But
Okay.
we do a thing called a brunch tour, which is like more of a 3 hour experience. Still two comics. You're in the bus the same amount of time, but the difference is we stop at two places. You get some breakfast stuff like chicken and waffles, breakfast burritos. You get some it includes like some cocktails like mimosas and espresso martinis and stuff like that.
So, do the comic sets? Are they like? Is this like a duck tour where they're talking about the city around them, or are they doing, you know, their own material?
That's a great question. So it is a mix of material, crowd work, and stuff about the city and
Okay.
riffing.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
it's a
it's
lot of
everything.
crowd. It does seem like that would be not great, not ideal for material. It'd be better for
But we want
interactive
it,
kind of
like,
stuff.
we want material also because the number one focus when he started this company and his idea was he wanted legit stand-up comedy. He didn't want just a tour guide who'd crack a couple jokes.
Right.
He wants the comedy to be the focus
Okay.
and the tour to be, like, there, but, like,
So how do you deal with?
the
Do you
comedy
book?
bus. It is the focus, you know.
Do you book at like a New York City comic ever? And then how do they
Yeah,
do the? Are they just like, oh look, a seagull?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Basically. So like a lot of times, if I have somebody coming in from out of state, which I've done many times, I'll just try to get a lot of the city out stuff out during my set and tell them,
okay,
hey man, don't worry about it. And when I'll introduce them, I'll say, hey, I got this guy here from New York, very excited. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I just say, just do your set.
yep, nice.
And yeah,
Cool.
I've had several friends from New York come down.
Who's the two-part question? Who's the comic you've been most excited to book for the bus, and who would be your dream booking?
So honestly, I just like working with my friends. Like
Okay.
so for me, like working
Has
with
the
Bill
Georgia
Simon.
guy been up to do the bus?
No, he hasn't come up. He hasn't
Okay.
come up. But like Bill Simus, Mike Murray, like they're friends of mine.
Oh,
So
Bill would kill in that
oh,
environment.
he just yeah, he just did it. He just did it yesterday and destroyed. And like friends of mine that I have on, or like a couple of friends of mine that I started comedy with that live in New York now, Tate Winston, Jonathan Tilson, like these are guys that I started with and now they live in New York. So it's real fun to have them come down, hang out with them. I haven't seen them in a while, do the bus together. And it'll be great. Like sometimes if they're like, hey, I have a show in Boston Saturday night, I'll be like, well, come do the bus in the afternoon. You know what I mean? It's only an hour away.
Yeah.
So honestly, just like hanging with friends. And I've met like some really cool guys just doing it too, like this guy Brendan Air I met recently, I've connected with that. He was fun to get to know. So it's cool, but I don't think I have like, oh man, if I could just get like I want to just do like the best I can do and be around people I like to work with. I don't think of it as like there's no like hero
Okay.
comic for me. All my favorite comics are dead. So and honestly, if I met them, they were
Well,
probably
you can pick from dead. It's a dream.
yeah, I mean, they're probably assholes anyways. Like, so again, sorry if I mean, I
That's
don't know what
okay.
the
It
language
doesn't
rule
matter.
is on the show. All
It
right,
doesn't.
sorry. I'm gonna go watch it later, and it's gonna be like all bleeps and like. So I apologize for
I don't
Brad's
have time to
behavior.
edit it, so don't worry
Yeah,
about
well, I apologize. So I never know these things. Like,
it. Yeah,
I
you're
feel
fine.
like,
You're doing great.
all right. So thanks. So like, for example, like Patrice O'Neal's one of my
That's
favorite
that's what I
comics.
thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, guy was probably an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I love it. Greg Giraldo. Um,
sure.
he was who knows what he maybe he was a dick. I don't know. Like I love Norm Macdonald. I don't see him doing. He's one of the best comics ever. I don't think he would do well on that thing. It's like
Yeah,
Mitch Hedberg, one of my favorite comedians. Like he couldn't do the bus.
no,
It's just that's not a good fit. I don't
right.
have some like dream thing. I just want to,
Yeah.
I just want
W
to do good myself and hang with and work with people I like to work with. That's really
Yeah.
that is the
Well, I mean,
dream.
that's the fun thing about all comedy, whether you're in a
Yeah,
club or a library or a bar, a brewery, a bowling alley, anywhere you are. It's just fun to be working with people you enjoy working with.
that is the thing. You know.
Yeah. What's something crazy that's happened on the bus?
Oh man, see when people ask me questions like this, I like cringe because like the owner of the bus is probably gonna watch this and he's like, why'd you tell that story? So when they ask, I'm always like,
Well,
nothing bad ever
how
happens.
about this? Let's reverse the question. Let me do a redo. What's the best experience you've had on the bus, including the audience, like just where everything went right?
Honestly, like shows where like, and this is the same as for comedy in general. There's been times that people have gotten off and been like, I was laughing so hard, like my face hurts. I've had a really bad week, or I had a bad day. I had a woman recently say, I wasn't. She came with her friends, and she said I wasn't going to come because I've had a really bad week. I was in a horrible mood, and my husband's like, just go with your friends. She's like, I needed this. Like I needed to laugh. Like those moments, like wow, like that's a great feeling. So when we started the beginning of this conversation, you asked about excited.
Yeah,
That's what I get excited.
yeah,
But
sure.
I'm like,
After,
oh, I'm like, that's the excitement.
yeah,
Before that show, if you saw me, you probably would have been like, what the hell is wrong with you?
yeah.
Because my
I get like that. I
I'm
am very
miserable before that show.
stressed pre-show when I'm organizing the show because there's just a lot going on. You got lighting, you got sound, you got a stage to set up, you got ticketing, you got people who are complaining, and there's just so much going on. But the afterwards, when people give you positive feedback, I do agree. That's one of the best
The
things.
best.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
best.
awesome.
That's the
Uh,
absolute best.
We got a question from online from North Carolina here. Mark, good to have you tuned in. Are most of your ticket sales in advance, or do you get some last minute attendees on the bus?
So they're in advance. If you go to comedybus.net, you'll see the schedule, how many seats are available for certain rides, etc. There's only been a couple times where we had some cancellations. And will post like online, hey, we just have some seats open up quickly, hit us up now because we got some room tomorrow for the brunch or whatever. But in general, it's in advance because a lot of them sell out early. So you go on the
Sure.
site and you see what's up,
How does the sound work? Do you have a mic stand and a mic, or is it like one of these head things, or?
Wireless mic, and the sound is just throughout the bus, like
Okay.
like any bus, the sound system.
Yep. Got it.
And sometimes we'll walk around a little bit. We have like they want to put like handles on the ceiling so they don't
Sure.
go flying.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, let me repurpose that question about the craziest thing you've seen. You've done some road work, I'm sure, driving places, doing funny for fun shows. You've just gone out there. You don't have to say who organized the show.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
something crazy you've experienced in 10 years of comedy at a show?
So I've told the Seinfeld story. I had to go up on stage after him. That was nuts. Uh, I
How'd he do?
Huh?
How'd
How,
Jerry do?
how did he do? Oh, I love, because growing up watching Seinfeld and
Yeah,
being a
I'm
huge fan
sure
of
he
his brothers,
crushed. And
I
everybody
love
loves him.
busting.
They
I
love
love
to
busting
get his
balls
stuff.
though because that night he did like so much like really old shit.
Uh,
So I love joking around and be like, this guy's doing 40-year-old jokes. But I always tell that story, so I'll tell you some other stuff. So I had to I get hired for the governor's inaugural ball event thing in Providence this year. Like I think it was like last winter or something. And I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go perform for the governor. Like, wow, it's a big deal at this
wow.
huge room at the convention center downtown. I'm the only comic. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be tough. I mean, I got to be clean. I'm the only comic. It's not a comedy show, but hey, I'm gonna do it. Of course, I'm gonna do it. That show was horrible. One of the worst gigs I ever had. If you go on my Instagram or my YouTube, Brad P.S. Comedian, if you just put my name and put governor or governor's inauguration, you'll see it. I have clips from it. That was a train wreck. He wasn't even there during my set. He showed up like 5 minutes or 10 minutes after my set. Huge room, huge. You could probably fit, I don't know, between 500 and 1,000 in that room, probably.
Okay.
And close to where I was performing was like 8 people. And
8
like
or
I
80?
shut out.
Did you
Huh?
say 8 or 80?
Oh, 8.
8.
Uh,
Less than
and then
10.
way, way, way in the back and on the sides of this giant room, there were people eating at like buffet stations, like meat cutting stations, like eating roast beef or whatever. People at the bar, there was bars set up. I mean, we're talking real. This room's huge, huge ceiling, huge, and there's like almost no one around, even pretending to be paying attention to me. And the one table that was like laser focused on me was 2 or 3 adults with like 2 or 3 really young kids.
Oh, geez.
So I'm like the one group of people I don't want listening to me.
Right.
Laser focused. Everybody else could give 2 shits. So that was a
How
fun
long a
one.
set was it?
Uh, I don't remember.
Okay.
At least 15 to 20, at
You blacked
least.
it out. You probably did an
Yeah,
hour's worth of material in 15
yeah.
minutes.
It was at least 15 to 20, at least maybe 25. I mean, it was insane. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I've done a ton of weird gigs. Did a
Yeah.
gig outside of we used to do these gigs for Cox Cable, the Cox
Yeah.
summer comedy series, it was called.
Oh,
And some of them were great because you were performing for like a condo place or a apartment complex, and you're performing for people who live in this neighborhood or community. And Cox would do this as a free show for them to basically promote and try to get them to get Cox Cable. Sometimes it was great. You'd get a bunch of people that are like, hey, we came down for the show. A lot of times they just came down because they get free pizza. So they would come get the free pizza and ignore us. One show, it was like almost the whole crowd was Indian families that I don't think spoke much English, and they had a bunch of little kids. They literally would just look at us like we're in the middle of the set, and they would just look at us like what are they doing? And then they would just eat their pizza. And then one of them was at a pool. I don't know if that's my wife or my cat. Anyways, it was at a pool, and we show up. It's outside next to a pool, and nobody knew we were coming. And there's just
Ambush
people,
comedy.
kind of people spread out, sitting around a pool, and just kind of looking over, like, what are they doing as we're setting up the sound? And again, had to be clean, and we were getting paid, so you had to do a set, but nobody wants to hear the set or anything. That's another one that I have on my YouTube and Instagram and stuff where it's funny. I've had people be like, "Oh, I saw one of your clips," and I'm thinking like, hopefully it's like some good clip from a big show, or whatever. And they're like, "Yeah, you were by a pool," and they're like, "A little kid ran by," and I'm like, "That's the thing you saw. That's the one." But like, I've done so many train wreck shows, so I don't know. There's been so many crazy things that have happened over the years with just unexpected train wreck shows, or just weird stuff that it's hot. Like we'll end this and I'll be like, oh, I should have told them
Yeah,
whatever.
sure. Is there a venue you'd like to perform at someday? A bigger bus?
Yeah, subway.
Subway car.
A helicopter. Venue.
Yeah. Club. You've done Gotham in New York City, you've done Vegas.
Yeah, but let's not,
I know it.
Gave me a call and said, "Hey, Brad, get your ass down here." It was more just one of those new.
We don't have to give that away to all the listeners. I know.
Yeah, I don't like to oversell myself. Like when I
Yeah.
tell the Seinfeld story, I try to make sure people understand. Seinfeld wasn't calling me up, asking me. It was a different kind of situation.
Yeah.
I don't like
I need to jet early. Can you close for me?
Yeah, because I went after him. He's like, "You mind if I open for you?" Like I don't like when comics will be like, "Oh, hey, when you bring me up, can you tell them that I whatever I
inflated
gave Bill Burr a massage or whatever." Like I don't like overhyping myself. A lot of comics today, it drives me crazy. I don't know if there's a
clearly if you're posting clips of you by a swimming pool.
I try not to take myself too serious. So I don't know, maybe Gillette or Fenway or something, I guess.
Oh yeah, sports arena. Yeah. But Burr did Fenway, right? Did you go to that?
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not Bill Burr. They don't call me.
Right.
I didn't go to it. No,
You didn't go to it.
All right. But see, even answering that question, you're like, is there a venue that you would go to? Yeah, like the dream. That's a cool thing to be like, oh, I played that, but that doesn't even fit. That doesn't really fit my act at all.
I get it. So I should have asked, like afterwards, you would have been excited that you performed. Like I can see the picture of the Super Bowl
I know
behind you, and like, what if I can't remember where that one was played. Was that in Houston? Maybe the 28-3 game. I think it was in Houston.
Against the greatest.
So NRG Stadium or something like that. Like if you got to, if you had a picture of yourself there and you could mount it next to that picture.
That would be very nice. Yeah. I don't think of course that was the best. I don't think that there's like as much as I'd love to say I played in a venue like that, and obviously that'd be great. But even the thought of it's like that doesn't really fit my my act or the way I do comedy. I feel like is much better in a room where
a small space.
Yeah. Like I've done some shows where there's a pretty big crowd, but I like that intimate feeling. I like feeling like
I can't stand if I go to like a big a basketball arena comedy show, it's terrible. Like I'd way rather see a way less famous comic in a small I don't want the TVs on. Like it doesn't have to be like a bad environment, but a small intimate place where everybody can see, the comic can see you, you can see the comic. I'm not in section 374.
That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah. Yep. So you get it.
There you go. Yeah. That's a pretty good. Can you read that? Performing on the Atlanta Falcons box after their historic loss and then roast them.
As
Yes.
much as that would be a really good story, I don't think I'd be alive anymore, but I guess that's the way to go. I mean, you gotta go at some point. I can't think of a better way to leave the planet than that. That would be the ultimate way to go out for
Oh,
sure.
man, that's so funny. All right, we got to wrap this up. You were a terrific guest, by the way. We've done a lot of these episodes, and you're really interesting, and I loved hearing your stories. So Brad Pierce, he's out in Rhode Island. Where can people find you on Instagram and YouTube and whatnot?
So it's Brad Pierce Comedian. Now, I know I have an obnoxious accent, but my name's on the screen. Brad Pierce Comedian
Okay,
is my handle on basically all the things, you know.
amazing.
And I
Everybody check
post a
him
lot of
out.
clips, and you can find some of my weird pool gigs. Or I posted one recently. I'm in a really loud bar in Vegas that like it's just so loud. Like you can see a lot of my crazy things like that. You can see the if you YouTube Brad Pierce Seinfeld, you'll see that whole thing. So I post a lot of these crazy experiences, and sometimes it's more fun posting like the really weird show, like the governor's thing or the pool thing. Sometimes it's more fun posting that than just
Yeah,
like, oh, here's a clip from like a really nice show I did.
hot room where anybody can.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's more interesting, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. And the bus, you're a regular on the comedy bus.
Hmm.
How do people, if they're on vacation in Rhode Island, which you should do, right? Get some
Who
quahogs,
doesn't vacation in Rhode Island? I mean,
get some
that's
quahogs with your coffee milk and have a blast.
we have a
Uh, where
Hawaii.
how do they get on the bus, and how far in advance do you got to get those tickets?
Comedybus.net has the full schedule. It's hard to say how far in advance, but definitely, like I said, a lot of them do sell out. And then you can also check them out on social media and stuff too. Comedy Bus.
Yeah, awesome, Brad. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks everybody for listening. I'm gonna end the stream.